Do you want a chest that looks big, strong, and perfectly square? The secret is not just pushing heavy weights on a flat bench. You really need to focus on your lower chest. When you build the bottom of your chest, it creates a deep, clear line right above your stomach. This simple change makes your whole upper body look much stronger and more attractive. That is why today, I am going to show you 6 of the best exercises to build your lower chest. These moves will help you lose that soft look and build real solid muscle. If you are ready to build a great chest today, let us start the workout right now. Let's go. First up is a unique move, exercise 1, plate weighted decline bench press. Lie down on a decline bench and lock your feet in tight so you do not slide. Grab 2 heavyweight plates. Here is the big secret for this technique. You are going to hook your thumbs right into the center holes of the 2 plates and press them firmly together. Your thumbs keep the weights locked in place safely, but your chest does all the work to squeeze them tight. Lower the plates slowly to the bottom of your chest. Keep your elbows tucked close to your body and take a deep breath. Now push them straight up and breathe out. Squeeze your chest hard at the top of the movement. Do 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps. Hooking your thumbs and pressing those plates together creates insane tension. It forces the muscle fibers to wake up, and it builds a deep, thick line right down the middle of your chest. You will feel burn right away. Next is a move you rarely see, exercise 2, decline barbell reverse bench press. It looks a bit strange, but it is an absolute game changer for building a massive lower chest. Lie on the decline bench and secure your legs firmly. Now grab the barbell with your palms facing your face. Lower the bar slowly down to your lower chest, taking a deep breath in. Notice how your elbows naturally stay tucked close to your ribs during this motion. This keeps your shoulders perfectly safe while making your lower chest do all the heavy lifting. Push the bar straight up and blow the air out forcefully. Do 4 sets of 10 reps. Flipping your grip forces your lower chest to stretch incredibly deep, tearing those muscle fibers so they grow back thicker and stronger. It takes a little getting used to, but once you feel the pump, you will never skip it again. Now, let us stretch those muscles wide and build a massive frame with exercise 3, dumbbell decline fly. Lock your legs into the decline bench to stay completely stable. Hold 2 dumbbells straight up over your chest with your palms facing each other. Bend your elbows just a little bit and keep them locked in that exact position. Slowly open your arms out wide. Imagine you are opening your arms to give a giant tree a big hug. Lower the weights down until you feel a deep burning stretch across your entire lower chest, taking a big breath in. Bring the weights back up using pure chest strength and breathe out. Squeeze your chest extremely hard when the weights meet at the top. Do 3 sets of 15 reps. Use a moderate weight for this exercise because we want to safely stretch the muscle fibers. This stretching motion is what gives you a truly massive, wide chest that looks powerful from every single angle you look at it. Now it is time for a special exercise. Exercise 4, the lower pec crusher. Set your bench to a slight incline angle for this one. Grab just 1 heavy dumbbell. Place the dumbbell horizontally on your chest and press your flat palms against both flat sides of it. Just push your hands together tightly to keep the heavy iron from dropping onto you. Lower the dumbbell slowly to your chest, letting your elbows slide down your sides and take a deep breath in. Push it back up, breathe out, and squeeze your chest super hard. Do 4 sets of 10 reps. Pushing your hands together while you press pumps a massive amount of blood right into your lower chest. It feels absolutely brutal, but it builds serious, dense muscle right in the center of your chest. It forces the chest to work in 2 different ways at the same time, giving you the ultimate muscle-building pump you have been looking for. it's time to lift heavy and build real permanent mass with exercise 5, dumbbell decline bench press. Using dumbbells is fantastic because they allow you to drop the weight much deeper than a barbell ever could. Lock your legs in tight and lie back flat. Bring the heavy dumbbells up right over your chest. Slowly lower them down to the outside edges of your lower chest. Keep your elbows tucked in at a comfortable angle, not flaring them out wide. Take a huge breath in as you carefully lower the weights. When you feel that incredibly deep stretch at the bottom, push them up fast and breathe out with pure power. Squeeze your chest tightly at the top of the lift. Do 4 sets of 10 to 12 reps. This heavy pressing movement lays the ultimate foundation. It builds the thick, dense, and square look that makes your physique truly stand out in a crowd. Go heavy, push yourself hard, and watch your lower chest completely transform over time. We are closing out this routine with a pure mass builder. Exercise 6, decline hammer grip dumbbell bench press. Set your bench to a decline angle and lock your feet in tight. Grab 2 heavy dumbbells and turn your hands so your palms face each other. This is your hammer grip. Slowly lower the weights down to the sides of your lower chest and take a deep breath in. Because of this grip, your elbows will naturally stay tucked close to your ribs. This keeps your shoulders completely safe and puts all the heavy pressure directly on your lower chest and triceps. Push the weights back up to the ceiling and breathe out hard. Squeeze your lower chest tightly at the top. Do 3 sets of 20 reps each until you cannot do another rep. This move gives you the thick armor-plated look at the bottom of your chest, building a great body time and patience. Tell me in the comments, what muscle group is the hardest for you to grow? I read every comment and I really want to help you win. Please subscribe to the channel so we can keep training together every week. Have an amazing workout, and I will see you next time.